Horror Lies.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you. This is week 314. I'm your Wednesday night host at BodyBags, and to be honest, I had no idea what I was going to review this week, and so I reached out to my buddy Derek that is over at VHS82. You know Derek, and he said, why don't you check out Sweet, Sweet Lonely Girl? It is an exclusive for Shudder, and so I went and watched it. And this is a film from 2016 that completely just went right by me. But it is a, in a sense, it's well, I've heard it said it's a throwback to the Gothic cinema of the 70s. And I found, as I watched this film, by the way, the director is Calvo, which I'm new to. I know there's some projects in development this guy's got coming out more down the road. And it stars, let's just get that out of the way, just three right off the top. Erin, Wilhelmi is Adele. She's our main protagonist, if you want. Quinn, Shephard is Beth, maybe perhaps aside from another, one of our main antagonists. And Susan Kellermann is Dora. And really, I mean, there's some others in there, but those are your three principals, I think. And so really what you have here is now I only watched it one time. But what I got basically was, so you get this girl Adele, and she's, you know, I don't know if she has the best home life going on as most do, but Aunt Dora, who is an agoropathic, I think that's the word. She's a shut-in. She cannot leave her room. She has no contact with anyone. She's basically just a total shut-in. And I guess it's a fear of going out or whatnot. But she sends a letter to Adele's family asking if they would send her to basically live in and take care of her and all her needs, whether it's just taking care of the house, grocery shopping, running errands, I don't know if the girl Adele has much choice in the matter, but it is a way out of her present situation, which you get a little tiny glimpse is not the best in the world, I don't think. So anyway, so she goes, and but right off, now this is an aunt that she had a relationship with, if I remember right, years ago, but there's been a big break, a sort of a gulf of no real contact. And so she's trying to reestablish contact as she comes into the situation, and immediately she's, and there you go, you see it up on Shudder right there, and that may just black out in a minute, but she finds real quickly that her aunt is not the person she remembers. I mean, she was never like normal, but she's much more isolated, I guess, and even just weird, and with I guess the ability to get to have quite a temper if things don't go exactly as she has laid out, and it goes right to the very specificness, the specificity of the list that she assigns for groceries, and you know, her sardines have got to be the imported sardines, and right down the line it is this. So as she starts to realize that maybe she's gone from one situation, which maybe not the best, she's come into another situation where it's kind of spooking her out, I guess, right off. Well, then enter Beth. Now, Beth is an interesting character who comes sort of into the picture and catches the eye of Adele. Now, Adele is someone who is, she's not really sure of who she is, and that includes perhaps the other sex or the same sex. And so when Beth comes in to the picture, she catches her eye in such a way that immediately she's drawn to her, and she wants perhaps this connection to exist. But you don't know a lot about Beth, and Beth, you find out pretty quick on, has perhaps some alternative motives on allowing this relationship to sort of kick into gear. And so it kind of adds some layer, adds some depth. Now, this film is just absolutely rich in atmosphere, and just got this this old Gothic feel, and really at times, I mean, if it didn't remind me of House of the Devil by Ty West, it reminded me even of this story in particular. It sort of reminded me in a weird way of The Case of Charles Dexter Ward by H.P. Lovecraft. And you know, it's one of those films that, well, as the relationship between Adele and Beth sort of kicks into gear, Beth will start challenging her to do some things that are uncharacteristic of Adele. And when we first meet her, she seems to be this really sweet girl who is not capable of much wrong, until Beth comes in, and then Beth starts to kind of pull her away from that. And as she starts making decisions in terms of money and pocketing money, you know, into her, she'll start replacing some of the grocery items, you know, with the cheaper version, so she can skim the money off the top. Because, you know, for one example, she eyes a dress in a shop window that she wants, and so in order to kind of gain some extra money, she starts pulling from her aunt, not only by skimming money off the top of the money that's allotted to her, but when not given in advance, she even goes as far as outright stealing her jewelry and whatnot, and taking it down to the local pawn shop and just starting to get money that way. And so, I mean, so her character just, you know, is sort of here, and it just starts to very quickly, and almost too quickly. But that begs the question, who is Beth exactly? And is Beth, you know, somehow linked with, now I'm just kind of going off on my own limb here, but without spoilers or anything, this pretty much is the plot structure, and it kind of got tailspin right towards the end of it. But it left me wondering, and the end is really sort of abrupt, and just suddenly you think you're going one way, and all of a sudden you're just left with what? But you know, I sat there and I thought, well, that makes sense if, and you start adding things up, but that may be completely off of what other people may interpret. And so, short end is, definitely I'm so appreciative that Derek pointed this film out to me, because this really does have a throwback feel to an earlier era of filmmaking. The problem, I think, is the direction the director takes with this film, and the end he leaves us with. There's just too much of a gulf, it seems like, between these 2 points, unless of course you consider the possibility that right from the beginning there may be some sinister motives going on. And I don't think I'm giving any spoilers out by saying that, because to be honest, the end is such that it really is left up to your own interpretation, and I'm sure there's a million reviews out there on just the end as it is interpreted. But it is really one of those that, depending, if you look at this film from kind of a Lovecraftian viewpoint, you're definitely going to come out at a much different, weirder place than, say, if you were coming from another angle. And so all I'm going to say, I guess I'm just going to leave it at that. It is an enjoyable film. It is a bit of a slow burn, but that's not bad. But like I said, the end is it just seems like when it hits the end, it just doesn't feel as natural. That is until you stop and look back and you start really thinking about it, and then things start to fall into play a little bit. But really, it's one of those. It really depends on your angle and how you choose to start interpreting things and motives of certain people, a la Beth or even Aunt Dora, right from the beginning. And perhaps even the question if this was not planned out from the very beginning for a certain reason, which I'll just kind of leave out there. But if you have never heard of this movie, it is 2016, Sweet Sweet Lonely Girl. It is a Shudder exclusive, and you ought to check it out, because I'm curious, if you wouldn't mind leaving comments down below if you do see it. I'm curious to know what you thought of the film and the end, and perhaps, you know, how did you take the end? How did you interpret it? Does it all make sense, or just does it seem too abrupt for you? But again, I'm very appreciative to Derek at throwing that one out to me, and it did allow me to fill some space up this week with a movie that I never seen before. It was a first-time watch, and I am definitely going to revisit it, but maybe after reading Lovecraft's A Case of Charles Dexter Ward. And I don't mean to say that film and that short story run parallel by any stretch. It's just there's certain things, certain themes being played out in those two, on the story and in the film. That the thing is that the movie also takes place in New England, or it's set in New England, which brings to mind Lovecraft, especially when you start delving into the weird. kind of stuff. But anyways, this is week 314. Again, I'm your Wednesday night host, and check it out. Sweet, sweet, lonely girl. Check it out. Leave a comment if you've already seen it, and take something from what I said, or maybe you can enlighten me a little bit. And keep checking this out. It was a great theme week last week with Child's Play, and I hope you guys enjoyed that, and just continue with as we roll along week by week by week. And now that college is out of the way, the NFL swinging in next weekend, so as always we end these things off with Go Bills.